Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday afternoon's Coaching Live. Hey,
Hello,
like what I've called it now.
Yeah, welcome to Wednesday afternoon Coaching Live with Sam and Lisa.
The third week. Cool. We hope everybody's doing good, doing well. Coming off the back of the end of our coaching extravaganza, which finished last night, we are both, well, feeling a mixture of things, right? It's just an incredible experience.
Yeah. It was really cool last night, but just the feeling that was left in the group and even after we closed the group down, and just that there was a real, I don't know, it wasn't excitement, it was like a content. It was a knackeredness. It was like, I feel like I think I remember sharing this once around, I want to feel really well used. And it was like, I feel like I've been well used in these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And, we also want to say that if anybody hasn't been involved, if they're new to the group, if they haven't watched any of the lives, they haven't been involved in any of it, or if they have and they've missed some, let us know. It's not too late to join, and you'll receive the last email, which will have all of the content and all of the recordings in it. So all you need to do is go to the comments, and we will, I think the easiest thing to do is just to post the link so you can sign up and receive that last email today. So what are we talking about today, Lisa?
Or just email us.
Email
us and we can share the link with the recordings, because you won't have, there's no more live calls. The event has finished, but you can have access to the calls that we did do. And it is really worth watching the replays, because there were some brilliant questions put to the coaches and some brilliant coaches featuring in it as well.
Yeah.
So,
including ourselves, where we ran some incredible workshops for people.
Exactly.
So actually, they're worth following through with. They're worth actually being a part of and doing in real time with the video, because you'll find them really insightful.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what we're going to talk about, we wanted to jump on and just share like the insights that we had, just the top few insights that we had, because there were so many. I just asked Sam this question, like, what did you really take from the 2 weeks and from the call last night? And Sam did something like this.
There's so much.
Like, so much.
3 things.
Should we not do an 8-hour live? Let's just think of a couple of things each.
Try our best to stick to our agreed 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about. So do you want to kick off, Sam? What did you really see?
Definitely. Well, the first thing that actually, I think, was something that you brought up, Lisa, which was
Are you going to pinch my insights?
Well, I'm not actually. No, I'm going to introduce it. Listen, this is how my mind works. I've written it down, 3 things. So I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to work my way down. If I go the other way, you'll just see me go like this.
You do what you need to do.
We're going to start with loving service. And when Lisa said this, it's something that really landed for me in this, because during the extravaganza, what I've really noticed, I mean, obviously as a coach, I'm constantly working on what loving service or fearless service as well means to me as a coach. But what it also means when I'm with my clients, or when I'm coaching people, or when I'm with people. And something that really came up for me around loving service in this particular group, especially last night, actually, when we were talking to Gary, which is really just thinking about when we're coaching someone, when we're being with someone, whatever it is that we're doing with coaching the group, whatever, just being aware of like really what's on our mind. And me and Lisa were talking about this just before the call as well. It's like, what's on our mind? Is there something that's not being said? Is there something that you want to say? Is there something that you're holding back on? And I know this has always been a work in progress for me as a coach too. So loving service for me in that context is really being aware of what's on your mind, what is left unsaid, what would you really want to say if this was your very last conversation with someone, for example. And the other thing I would say on that as well is, who is this for? And this goes with whether we're emailing someone, whether we're sending them a voice note on Facebook, whether we're sending them a video, whether we're coaching someone, whatever it is, when we're proposing to somebody in terms of working with them. It's like, who is this for? Is this for me? Or is this in service to them? It can be really easy when we're working with someone, and especially when we're getting caught up in, I really want to get them into a session and coach them. It's like, who is this really for, and how is this going to be heard? How is this going to be received? So those two things, I think, are the things that stood out for me in this, not just this challenge, but speaking to these coaches and being in this group. It's really shown me.
The loving service piece, I mean, you saw it, anyone that was in the calls, you saw it demonstrated. Here's 3 coaches who, yes, we work with, but we've asked, will you come in and serve our community? And they've said yes. And they haven't, they've shown up fully. They've really shown up fully and been really enthusiastic about being there, really present, really wanting to know the community and how they could serve in the time that they had with us. So it was being modeled throughout those 2 weeks with no attachment to anything, literally 0 attachment. They're really purposeful in their work, as are Sam and I. Like, we're really purposeful about what we want to create in this industry and how we want to transform this profession and individuals within this profession. And it isn't an attachment to having that have to happen right now with these individuals. It's just, that's our compass point, that's our North Star, and it's whatever we can do and whoever we can be to work towards that. That, to me, that just felt really beautiful. And I mean, you'll have seen as well, and Gary really talks so passionately about the transformation he's experienced from being around Steve Chandler and Steve Harrison. And he shared in the group call, he was like, I hired them to help me with my business. We spent like 20% of the time talking about that. The rest of the time was on me. And what you see is when he was sharing stories of things that Steve would do that are just above and beyond. And it just comes from this place of just loving every individual in front of him. And I remember, like, Sam and I do this. I don't know if people would know, but before we are about to be in a session with someone, we're really thinking about them, and we're sitting and just being with them. And that happens often. Like, our minds can take us to our clients and really considering them and where they're at and what they were saying and what we were hearing and what would be helpful. And that's what grows your practice. And it isn't, right, I'm going to spend some time thinking about this person so that they renew with me. It's a genuine shift inside of just really willing to be with someone just because you want to be with them, even if they're not there in front of you. So that, to me, that's real loving service. And what I wanted to add on to that, because the other insight that I had was around, like, it really does take time and dedication to your craft if you want to make it in this profession. And so we can hear loving service, and then again, this would be what I would have interpreted that as in the early days, right? I just got to be a nice person. I just got to go around and do things for people, like carry their shopping and, like go, I don't know, wash someone's car and do good in the world, and good will come back. And that's really what I would have heard. But you can come from that place of love and be really effective with your time and energy in terms of building connections, building relationships, growing your community, serving the people who you want to serve. Yeah. There was something in there for me as well around just making sure what's being heard isn't just go out in the world and be good and clients will come, because there is a real, the specific action that all of these coaches have taken to get to where they are.
Totally.
So I don't want that bit to be missed.
No. And that's such an incredible point. And I think it points to what we were going to share as well on the third point, which is kind of permission to be me. It's like, when we're like, who are we really serving? Am I serving me? Am I lovingly serving my voice? As a coach, I mean, this is definitely applicable for me, at least. It's like, I really want to coach. I really want to help people. I really want to earn money. It's like, am I serving that voice too? Am I being intentional with what I need to be doing in order to create that? And that serving that, but also in a way that's in service to others, for me, is where the magic is. It's where they meet. And that's where the directness can come in, and the time and attention, and the focus of, hey, this is work. Like, let's get to work. We're professional coaches. Let's get to work on what we need to do to serve ourselves and what we want, but also in service to other people, have that be in service to other people. And I think that's a really important thing to speak to. I don't know what you think, Lisa, but for me, we can miss that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, not even in a coaching context, but just for anyone that might resonate with this, when you're running around like a blue-ass fly, right? You're not looking after yourself. You're not really going to be helping anybody else. It feels like you're doing everything you can to be as helpful as you can. But I always remember my days when I was in human resources, and that was such a high pressure environment that I was in. And I was literally like, go, 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 and bouncing from meeting to meeting to meeting with no headspace whatsoever, no time to get anything done. That wasn't in service to my client group. Like I thought it was, because they were asking for me to be in all these meetings. They were asking for me to do all of this stuff. So I thought the way through it was to respond and get it all done, no matter what. And it really wasn't. The way forward was to take a step back and slow down and really see, where do I need to say no?
Yeah.
Where do I really have to have these difficult conversations and find a way? Who do I need to be speaking to? Who do I need to work with? Who needs to speak to each other? Because this isn't sustainable. Now that would have been the way forward, but I didn't see it. So it's a really, really good point that you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first in order to help everybody else.
Yeah.
So if you have a business model that's, you have X amount of money that you want to make, but you're charging £20 a session, then you're not going to hit that goal, or you're going to be absolutely exhausted. And being exhausted is not a strong foundation to go into a coaching session.
It's not going to serve necessarily, is it?
Yeah. Or you'll be thinking about the next person, right? It's £20, but who's next? So you need to be present with that person. And I'm not saying £20 is wrong, by the way. That's not the message. The message is really checking in and looking at, am I in service to myself?
Mm-hmm. I think there's one other thing on that Gary kind of pointed to. And again, guys, it's well worth you catching up on these calls if you haven't seen them, which is around, when we're serving ourselves, like, who am I serving? Am I serving who I am now, or am I serving who I want to be? And he talked about that in his journey to Japan, and meeting his wife and closing down, or getting somebody else to run his business. Like, he recognized that he's not serving who he wants to be or what wants to be. He's serving his kind of safe, stay comfortable, conditioned ego, kind of, some people call it small mind self. And I think that's a really important distinction to make, because we can think, oh, I'm busy, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm serving myself, but actually we're not serving who we really want to be, or who we need to be to have what we want. We're just serving that reaction self, that reactionary self. So I think that's something to just drop in there. I think it's a useful thing to hear.
And the other thing which I shared on the call last night, what I really saw was we had so many different, like, you have 5 coaches involved in that extravaganza leading the sessions, 5 really different styles of coaching. Mm-hmm. And so for anyone who's looking in somebody else's lane and thinking that they're doing better or they're doing it differently and I should be doing this, getting really interested in there's a way to do it, you can drop all of that. Like, watch these videos and see 5 different successful coaches all doing it their way. And that for me that would have been such a useful lesson to know in the beginning.
Yeah.
When I was really interested in how Rich Litvin did everything.
Yeah. Right? I'm just going to be a Rich Litvin.
Yeah, memorizing his script for the proposal. I don't know how many times I watched that video and I was like, right, I need to say this, I need to say this.
Yeah.
And it might have been helpful. It got me to wherever I needed to get to. It was what I was doing at the time. So again, it's not making any of that wrong, but you will at some point learn to lean into who you are as a coach, who you're creating yourself to be. And it's you, like, be you. That's what I want to share.
Yeah.
You do you, because that's going to be sustainable.
Totally.
And that's going to feel authentic.
Yep. It's less work.
Yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah, totally. So I don't think there's anything else from us. I mean, certainly there isn't on my end.
No, there's tons we could share.
Totally.
But I would just say, let us know if you want the recordings and we'll email them. Yeah. We'll email them across to you, because it's really worth catching up.
Yeah, totally. And we would love to hear what you've heard in this live. So if there's a question, or if there's something that is landing, oh, that's useful, or something that isn't useful, whatever, put it in the comments and we'll come back to you. and we can begin that conversation if it's helpful.
Yeah. So, and hi, Amy. Amy's just messaging. Thanks for being
hi, Amy.
Right back at you, Amy.
And the heart is my favorite color, so you get special credit for me too.
Right.
See you next time, guys.